Once you got her transferred, did she start to get better?
She did.
Tell us about that.
She did not like being in the hospital where she was. She didn't like the schedule they had her on. She didn't like the monitoring that they were doing. She wasn't happy there at all.
Does she, at what point does she start to grasp that she's actually in a hospital being treated for having serious injuries to her brain?
Probably about a day or two after we got her up to St. Vincent's.
Um, Tell us about that.
She spent a lot of time in a state of denial. She didn't think anything was wrong with her. She felt that she was competent to take care of herself, that everything was going to be okay, and to this day she still hides a lot of the injuries and pain that she's going through.
What's it like for your son during this period? Was he involved in the transfer to St. Vincent's?
No, he wasn't. He was at school that day.
What's it like for him having his mom going through this state of denial, going through these serious injuries?
I think for the longest time he went through a stage of guilt because he knew that his mother had taken him and his friends tubing, and if it wasn't for him, they would have never gone on this trip, and nothing would have happened. And so I think he felt really guilty about the whole situation.
Did that have a negative impact on him?
In some ways, yes, but in other ways, it was a positive thing for him and I.
Explain.
Him and I became really close through this. As a young kid, he kind of always went to his mother for things, and to this day now, him and I can console on each other.
Talk to me about how long is she hospitalized total?
I think it was only about another week. She was at St. Vincent's in the rehab center. They wanted her to stay, but she just did not want to be in the hospital at all.
Did Humana give you any problem about having her? Did they tell you that it was time for her to leave too, or was that?
I don't recall any issues with that in particular.
Now, what happens after she leaves St. Vincent's?
They allowed us to, they discharged her from the hospital to come home for recovery, but she needed somebody with her at all times. They were afraid she would do things like start the stove and walk away, so there was probably 3 or 4 weeks we had to have somebody in the house at all times, and she did not like that at all either.
Does she have any memory of the week before the accident?
I believe the week before, yes.
Okay. When does her memory start afterwards?
She, I believe, says that she remembers having something to eat in Theta Clark.
Okay, so she does remember some period in Theta
But
Clark?
some very, very little.
Okay. And how about St. Vincent's? Does she remember?
She does, but it was a terrible experience.
Explain.
She was, again, the security systems that they had a tent put up over the bed that they pretty much locked her in the first night. She did not want to be in that, and I went home and cried. I mean, it was a terrible thing to see her put in this device.